keep getting questions about analytics, so we're going to talk about it again. Bill had an awesome interaction. Maybe awesome's a strong word. Bill had an interaction with a client on Monday that, we call it story time with Bill. So story time with Bill, the topic's analytics today.
Yeah, I think that it's a hot topic. Everybody's looking at analytics all day long. Their Google platforms and everywhere else that they're paying for ads. It's not out there that it would migrate that same thought process into a video brochure. And like, if we're sending one out, what kind of analytics can we get to justify the campaign, share with, for management, stuff like that.
Well, to be totally transparent, this morning we had an ROI conversation about retargeting, and we were looking for ROI on, an online platform. So we do it too. This is totally normal for a marketing team to do. The conversation is not, it's you being fiscally responsible, but
sure. Well, you need to justify it to the people that are funding it, right?
Yes.
And usually it's upper management or some team that has custody over it, right?
Or your own team, or yourself, whatever.
Sure. And so when you're going to make a purchase of video brochures or video mailers, for that matter, the difference between sending out a 20 cent or 25 cent postcard versus sending out something that's $25, it's a big difference.
Totally.
So, therefore the heightened, of our focus in like,
is it working? How do we justify it? Yes.
So I had a client that sent me an email and was asking me about one of our competitors that offers a technology, and said, how do you guys differentiate yourself, MediaFast? And I basically went to him and said, well, look, we're the largest in the space. We produce X amount, a month. Our quality second to no one. Customer service is absolutely stellar. White glove the whole way, and all that comes at a really, I think, very affordable cost when compared to everybody else, right? So, but if you're looking for analytics, it's not something that we offer, and we want to, and this is the reason why, right? There's violations of the Privacy Act, this, and and most importantly, I think it sours the relationship, sours that experience, right? Okay. So that was it, crickets, and followed up with them a couple of times, and then they sent me a note and said, hey, do you have time to talk? And okay, so I felt like it would be like more deep dive into the analytics side. So when we got on the call, I said, hey, look, I imagine that this is going to be analytic driven. If you've got questions about that. He says, no, I don't have any questions about it. I met with my legal team, and there's no way they're going to do this. And it has everything to do with the inability to opt out of the tracking. So the pieces, if you guys are not aware, the pieces do not have a way to shut off the SIM chip in the tracking capabilities. So even if you put a sticker that's in 2-point type, which really doesn't tell anybody what you're really doing because nobody reads that, and they break the sticker across the seam and they open it up, immediately start tracking them. Let's say they realize that they're being tracking because they had a phone call from a rep that said, hey, by the way, I see you're interacting with my piece. That's really cool, which gives you an aha moment.
Or they get a magnifying glass and they read it and they now know.
Yeah,
they cannot opt out.
Who does that? Right?
I know.
But they don't, right? And you definitely can't give them a disclaimer to the extent that's required. Right. Like if you go to every website today and it pops up, it's pretty much telling you, hey, we've got cookies, we're doing this tracking, opt in, opt out, or you have to accept it, or you can't
move on.
You can't move on, right? So you have to be able to be able to present that, and it's a lot of type to put in a little decal as big. I mean, you need a whole panel on one of the brochures in order to have all that text, and nobody's going to read it in the first anyway.
And their point, I think, that was important is that the opt out piece, if you use apps like all of us do. When there's an app update or something, it's asking you allowed to track, to track when I'm in the app, or never allowed to track. Those are standard privacy. You get to choose, and this piece doesn't give you that.
It doesn't let you do that, unfortunately. So we don't offer it. We try not to have our clients be put in a situation where they can be in a position where they're, they have
legal liability.
Yeah, they have a major liability on their hands. I mean, there's 50 states. The privacy laws are changing on a daily basis in some states. So just because you may not be violating a law in one state doesn't mean you won't violate that law tomorrow or the next day, and or in some other states. So you gotta be
super dynamic. The whole thing is dynamic.
It's not, in my opinion, it's the risk is not worth the reward, the potential reward. Because even if you have the data, what are you gonna do with it? I mean, really, what do you do with it? Are you gonna tell people, oh, they opened it or didn't open it? I really think you guys got to really think through that, and really where the best practices and where people succeed the greatest with these pieces is that they have a really good execution plan. So it's not only at the beginning of their mailer campaign, but after these pieces drop. So really dial in and focus on that. And if you don't really have one or don't really understand what best practices are or what we're seeing the greatest amount of success within our client base, reach out to us. We're happy to share that. We won't share anything proprietary, but we'll definitely tell you how to do it.
Yeah. I think that's really the point, and the difference with working as two is we really do care about your success. The point is we're trying to protect you from a legal,
we're trying to protect you from yourself. Okay?
Right. And we want to help you create the piece that brings the best ROI possible, which is why we want to collaborate with your team. This isn't just a click and place an order. This is a collaboration to create the piece that is the best fit for you. So we look forward to talking with you, and thanks for taking the time to have story time with Bill today.
Thanks. See you.